It is Michael White, and here's my co-host,
And Thermophytis.
and we're here bringing you guys another banger. This one's going to be very interesting because I think a lot of people deal with this, and it's not fun for the present person.
I
And
totally agree.
yeah, it's not fun for them. So we want to discuss that, but I want to just make a few announcements first. We're going to play our promo video. We'll get started, and then we'll have some fun. So, guys, we're here. We're going to talk about this topic. I want to make a few announcements. Obviously, as you guys know, you guys can follow us on any of the social media platforms below. We're also actually getting ready to start our community on Locals as well. So when you go over and you sign up to Locals, you'll be able to support us there for more privatized content over there. Because obviously within the YouTube guidelines, you can only say and do certain things. On Local, we could talk a little more riskier. We can have a little more fun. Not that we don't have fun here, but we can have a little more depthness conversation without getting flagged or anything of the sorts. So we're gonna be also over there as well. And that's just pretty much gonna be like videos, no live streaming over there, but just like, let's say someone asks us a question on Locals, we'll answer it on a video, stuff like that. And then we're also gonna have log content, which you can pay for over on Locals as well. With that also being said, guys, I also want you guys to understand that when we give this information or we have these topics, it's not for people to like us. And probably gonna be the bad guy today because again, like
Yeah.
we, no, it's just because at the end of the day, like we don't care about your feelings. It's not that we don't care, but more is in the sense of we want to help you get the results that you're looking for. Because you have to understand that your feelings got you here. Your feelings got you to a place where you're not being respected in your relationship. Your feelings got you to a place where you're dating the wrong people. Your feelings got it where you were in relationships where they weren't equally balanced. Your feelings got you there. So then you have to be able to re-strategize and say, hey, I need to go about things a little different. I'm not telling you to be a robot, but what I am telling you is to adjust and stop making more feeling-based decisions.
No, I agree with that. And if you don't mind, Michael, I just wanted to start off with a comment that we've got that's come through regarding. You happy for me to start with a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So obviously the subject at hand here is: are you bringing your past into your present relationship? And Diane has said, not as much as I can avoid it. I find that healing is most important before we get into another relationship. I also find that only women can really help to heal the soul of another woman. What's your take on that, Michael?
Heal the soul of another woman. Interesting. As I look at it, though, healing, when it comes to healing, a lot of it's going to require to you, your self work, and what you acknowledge about yourself when it comes to healing. It's actually the reason why people don't like it. It's because it requires you to take accountability for the poor choices that you've made. So in healing, it really comes down to forgiveness and allowing yourself to say, okay, look, I went left in this relationship. And what I mean by that is you didn't act in accordance, but you're always trying to do better.
I
So
agree with that.
when it comes to the healing process, I don't think gender really matters. You could get healing from a man, you can get healing from a woman. Because again, we cover an amazing speaker who's helped a lot of women heal, Stefan Labrassier. He's helped a lot of women heal, and he's a
Mm.
man.
Mm. But I think it really does come down to the individual. It's up to,
It
like,
does.
you can help the process by giving people tools and techniques and words to help them along the process. But it comes down to you personally
It does.
actually healing yourself, because anyone can say anything.
Well, it's like even me, I did a cartwheel yesterday. Not actually, because I'm a little old. So I'm just saying I didn't actually do one. But I was having a conversation, a candid conversation with a girlfriend of mine, and she actually acknowledged that she actually dated toxic dudes. And that was, to me, very brave of her to admit that. For her to say,
Mm,
yeah, you know what? I've chosen poorly. I want to do better.
yeah.
And I gave her I'm like, most people will never admit their faults. Hey, I made a mistake here. I've been acting this way, or I've been dating this way. Let me do better.
Yeah. And I think, it is one of the biggest problems out there when it comes to relationships, how many people do not heal and start a new relationship. So they do bring all this baggage alongside them and dump it into the present relationship and then expect that person to take it on board. And I think that's why so many relationships do not last. They do not go to their, and if they do last, some of them are, I think
It's
we've
only
said
surface based. It can't
it's only
ever go
surface
deep.
based, doesn't ever go deep. And that's what I was going to say. We've said it many times on the podcast throughout different subjects, but it all comes back down to the same thing. It's healing before you get into the next relationship. And yes, you can be in this relationship and think that you've healed. And if you thought that you'd healed and then something comes up, like you rightfully said, Michael, it's about accepting that and accepting, having accountability for yourself to say, well, actually, because I've had that where I thought that something I'd healed a certain part of what's happened, and it's come up in me, and it's triggered something, and I recognized it, and I was like, oh, like I thought that I'd really dealt with that. But the
Mm.
difference is, I will say, actually, I know that that's happening, and I can recognize that, and I do take accountability, and I want to know how can I move forward from that. Where and I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything like that. I'm just saying I've learned to do that. But a lot of people don't do that, Michael. And they are bringing their past into their present relationship. So what's the answer? Don't
Well,
get
that's
into
the
a
thing.
relationship until you've healed, man.
Well, that's the thing. Before we go forward and get in the topic, guys, please like, share, subscribe. The button is there. It's free. Or put a one in the chat, guys. If you love us, comment in the chat. I love what you guys do. I hate you. Whatever you want to put it in the chat. Um, I'm gonna say this. I've dated some people that have had some things happen to them, terrible things, and they've never really addressed those things. So what they end up doing is dating somebody, looking for love in the wrong places, or just
Mm,
looking for love in general, understanding that they're still broken in some areas. I'm not saying overall you're broken, but I'm saying in certain areas you're broken. Like,
mm,
let's say maybe you don't trust as much. Maybe you can't let go of things as much. There's certain areas that you have a hard time adjusting to. So, what a lot of people don't understand is when you bring that into a relationship, you're asking the other person to carry that burden. And it's not fair to them because they weren't the one that hurt you.
yep.
They weren't the one that lied to you. They weren't the one that did you wrong. And then what happens is you're like, oh, you're just like my ex, John. Uh, okay. Like, you see what I'm saying? So it's really about addressing, and it could be a multitude of things. We could sit here on the podcast and talk about it for hours. You could have abandonment issues. You could have um um like you get overly attached to people, like cooperation type stuff. Codependency was the word I was looking for. You could have a lot of these issues, never address them, and then keep dating, relationship fails, dating, relationship fails, and you think it's normal.
And you know what? It's interesting you just brought that up because I had an experience where I got talking to someone and it wasn't a relationship, just got talking to someone. And the amount of times the person called me and texted me was such an off put to even want to get to know them in any way, shape, or form. And to me, that's a problem because you don't, just because you've met someone and you like someone doesn't mean it gives you the right to what's the word, to jump all over their freedom as such. It's like to have a
Well,
message after message throughout your day, morning, noon, evening, night, and then phone call, phone call, phone call. It's like, whoa, it's suffocating is the word that
let's correct that quickly going forward. It seems to be okay when a girl does it to a guy, but not okay when a guy does it to a girl. First of all,
I don't think it's okay either which way around. I don't care whether
and
you're female or male.
and you didn't like the guy that much, because if it was a guy that you liked, you would have wanted to hear from him. You
Yeah,
see,
but
there's
not
a
that
big,
often.
not that
No,
often, but like
not that often.
you still wanted to hear from him, period. Because that's the thing. If it's with a guy you like, guys that you like get different rules compared to guys that you don't like.
Yeah, but I think again, I think you've got to give people, I think that's somebody that hasn't healed. I don't care if you're male
Okay,
or
yeah,
female.
fair enough.
It's
Yeah.
an unhealed person. Someone turning up and making that many phone calls and that many texts, to me, you've got some issues going
There's
on and you've
probably
got
some
attachment.
neediness, but the thing is, did you establish that there was some interest?
No, I know. I didn't. It didn't even get to that. It didn't get to that because to me, I can like. I've got a life to live. I can't
Hmm.
be.
What I'm
I just.
saying,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to understand is, why did you take this guy's number? What was the intent?
Oh, it was to do with business.
Okay, you see, but that's what you should have said right from the jump. That on your end would have been your mistake of not clarifying, hey, this is just business. Because from the sounds of it, he took it as a romantic gesture. But if you would have cleared that up in the beginning and said, hey, look, this is just business only, you probably would have never called so much. Because the thing is, he probably took it as a romantic gesture because he wanted your time and attention.
Mm, yeah,
But if it was just
I hear that.
business, if it was just business, he would have never called you that much. He'd be like, this is business. We're doing XYZ together.
Well, he was aware that it was business. I had said, and he'd also said we are business partners. He had actually said that, which to me, I didn't need to then clarify again on top of that.
You have to, because
But
you're a woman. You have
yeah,
to.
okay, thank you. No,
You
you
have
know,
to.
that's what I mean. Like this is all a learning curve at the end of the day.
Because
So that's really interesting to hear that.
again, and I know we're getting off topic, guys, so bear with us, but you also have to understand, and again, I hate to say this, some men are sneaky links. They'll tell you it's business and it's not really business.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm saying that you should have established, he's saying it, but you should have said, I really do want to move forward with you in this project or whatever it is we're doing. But I need to make it abundantly clear to you that this will never be anything romantic. I don't like you in that way. If you can strictly keep it professional, then I can do business with you. If you can't, I can't do business with you.
yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Verbalization is very important.
Yeah,
So,
very.
again, on this show, we're actually going to talk about bringing your past, because I've had experiences where I've dated people, and this is where we're going to get into the fun stuff. Is I've dated some girls and they've had like trauma, right? Maybe over emotional, don't know how to deal with their emotions, don't know how to process their emotions. And I get into a relationship with them, right? And I don't know how to handle all this because it's new to me. Well, at the time it was new to me, and I didn't know how to deal with it because I'm sitting there like, what's going on with this individual? Why are they so like, you know what I mean, sporadic like this? And some women, it was because their dad was never in their life. They grew up in a single parent household. And that's why, as I said on this podcast, we're huge advocates for going to therapy, because you need to go talk to somebody.
Yeah, but people don't want to admit that they've got these issues in the first place, Michael. And I think this is a problem, right?
It is.
Yeah, because unless you could admit that, then you aren't even therapy to them is that's why they will say no, I don't need therapy because they don't think there is a problem. But if your relationships are breaking down, then there's a problem. Like I had to understand, and you've had to understand. We've
Yeah.
both had to understand that we've got healing to do because we're not in a relationship. So that tells us
Mhm.
from past that we've had issues that we've had to clear up, and that's what we're doing. And whether like you're ready for a relationship or I'm ready for a relationship, we will know the time when we're ready. Now I know that I can say, like, my hand on my heart, I'm ready for a relationship, but until I get into that relationship, I won't know what, if anything, triggers me, if I fully healed or not. I feel like I feel fully healed. I think that I fully healed, but until
You
it gets
won't know
there,
until you're in the relationship.
until I'm in the relationship, I won't fully know. But then if something does trigger me, I will be the first person to put my hands up. And I promise that to myself, not to anybody else, to me, because I want to show up the best in my next relationship. I
But
want to
even in
love.
that relationship, sorry to cut you off, even in that relationship, even if the person triggers you, you have to be able to express it in a healthy manner to
Right,
say, hey, I'm feeling a little triggered right now. I need like a little bit of space to gather my thoughts.
right. And
And
I totally agree with that.
let's table the conversation and reconvene and we'll come back. Because
Yes,
usually when you're in that triggered state and you're in that emotional state, you make reckless decisions and thoughts.
yes, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
then you need to take that step back and say, okay, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling a little emotional. I need to step back. I'm feeling triggered because of XYZ. It doesn't mean you're not healed. Like things are always going to bother us, but
Yes.
they'll probably bother you on a lesser scale compared to before.
Yes, yes. Because I know when I, in my younger days, there's so much stuff would trigger me. Oh my goodness. And I didn't
Mhm.
know how to take that step back, and I didn't know how to communicate. I would just be like a time bomb at times.
Sporadic. It's
Yeah, just
sporadic.
like boom. But now it's like, what a difference. And I know that difference because I've lived that person. So I can actually compare the difference in who I am today to who I was.
Oh, I think we all have growth that we've had. And then even being in the present day, we also have to understand that when we date people, both guys and girls, you want to show up as the best version of yourself, but you also want to show up with the understanding to make that person's life easier, not be as burdensome. And if you have a past of like pain and trauma and you still decide to date this person, that's what you're doing. You're making their life harder instead of easier.
I agree. And actually, I think I'd said this before where I'd heard another relationship expert. I think his name's Matthew. I don't remember
Yeah,
his last.
Matthew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a British guy. He had said, if you've been cheated on in the past and you've got trust issues, then you don't trust the person, you trust yourself. You trust
You
that
don't trust yourself. Yes.
right. So when you turn up in a relationship, you have to trust that things are going your way. And if anything does come up, then you cross that bridge when you get to it, but you don't go in the relationship expecting them to be
To hurt you.
to hurt you, right?
Yeah, because I did hear him talk about that. His name is Matthew Hussey.
That's it. That's the
And
one.
he's
Thank
even
you.
said it's not that you don't trust that people will hurt you, you don't trust yourself to pick the right person.
And that's what you have to do. You have to trust yourself to pick the right person. And then if they do something, then you cross that bridge when you get to it, but you don't show up expecting or not trusting you in
Yeah,
picking
because then
someone.
you're already setting the relationship up to fail when you
Absolutely.
come in, when you're like, I'm just waiting for them to hurt me. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for them to flip the table. I'm waiting
Yeah.
for them to do this.
Subconsciously as well. But it's like if you're going for your driving test and you get into the car and you start saying to yourself, "Well, I know I'm going to fail this.
Mhm.
Like this is a big failure. I know I'm going to have to rebook my test." Because it happened to me last time and it happened to me the time before. So you're on your fifth test now and you just expect yourself to fail. Then what do you think? You think you're going to pass your driving test? No. But if you turn up and trust yourself and you sit in that driver's seat and go, okay, no, this time I know that I'm turning up at the best version of what I can and I'm going to pass this test. I can do this. Then you're going to pass.
Yeah, see, I think with a partner though, when you're dealing with somebody, you need to sit down with them and really tell them like, "Hey, look, like I've been cheated on before. It's a big trigger for me, trust, abandonment, whatever. and have that discussion with them. Because that's the thing. At least if you have the discussion, it brings awareness.
Yes, I
Instead of just
agree.
coming into the relationship saying nothing, the person does something, you're like, oh my God, you did this to me. And the person's like, where did all this come from? And that's what makes it very difficult, right? It's the same thing that, like, let's say you're in a relationship with someone and people are not perfect. They're going to do things you don't like or they hurt you or whatever. But let's say they've hurt you and you guys have had a candid conversation on how you're going to move forward. Let that go. It's not about healing in a relationship. Let it go. Stop arguing about the little things. Let it go. Is the person willing to show up and change their behavior and act different and be different? And I think that's the most important part. We hold on to things because of what we've been hurt, because of what's happened to us, because we identify that with pain.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it is, stop sweating the small stuff, as you said, Michael, because look, there's bigger things happening in the world.
There's
So
bigger fish to fry at the end
yeah,
of the day. Like
yeah, there's some serious things happening around the world, to be honest with
that
you.
too. But
Yeah,
it's like,
so
does the
when
person show up for you and love you majority of the time?
yeah, end of story, really. I think that's
End
it.
of story. Why are you going to
Yeah.
argue about all the little stuff when at the end of the day is, do they do their requirements within that relationship?
Yeah, and if you don't like them, then leave. Don't be with
That's
them.
it. If you don't like, you know what? Yeah,
Leave.
exactly. If you don't like it, leave. That's
Like,
it. You know,
people are confused. I think people think that we're trees and we can't move. It's like, no, we are moving beings. We are functional. So if you don't like somebody's behavior, words, actions, ways, then don't be there. Don't put them through something and start giving them like the hammer on the head type of thing continuously because you don't like it. You don't like it, then you know where the door is. Go. We don't
well, I'm
need,
gonna
we don't
say
have
this.
to be together.
I'm gonna say this though, because we're not all about just jumping from relationship to relationship. If you don't like something, tell your partner, but it depends on how drastic it is. And we've talked about it in the podcast. Like if they're rude to waiters, I wouldn't be with somebody like that. But let's say you're dating somebody and they might use like words or affirmations that you don't like. Don't complain about that. That's small.
I agree. I
Like
agree.
that is so small on the
So
scale
small.
of more important things. Like in a relationship, your partner is going to say things you don't like, but like don't ever try to change them to be like, well, I never want you to say that again. Now you're trying to control the narrative.
Yeah.
Now, what they said, was it rude? Did they give you context? There's so many things that you have to look at when they say these things. Oh, I don't like how it makes me feel. Okay, but it's like, were they rude about it? Like if me and Anthea are having a conversation and I'm like, Anthea, I think it's time for you to park the brakes and actually listen, or hey, you need to kind of, I would never tell a woman to shut up, but like you need to be quiet right now.
Well, I would, if I was, yeah, and if you'd said that to me, and because I've become a bit irate in some way, or if I've
Mm.
been quite rude, then I would listen to that, and
But
I think I would anyway.
yeah, some people though would, oh, don't ever tell me to be quiet. Don't talk to me like that. If you love me, you wouldn't say that. No, but in this moment, you are being irate. In this
Mm,
particular moment, you are being irate. I'm asking you to be quiet. So I think there's like a level of also understanding the respect foundation.
yeah, there is. It's a lot, isn't it? And I think again, it's just bringing your past to your present, and not what If you haven't brought your past to your present, I think you show up completely
You
differently as
do.
said, you do. And you do communicate things. And I think you was very right in saying if you like someone, then you're willing to take that time. If you don't like someone, like your tolerance level is just not there. You don't feel like you need to give the time or
Yeah.
explanation or anything. So I think you've really got to weigh up in yourself where you're at in you, not about the other person. It comes down to you again. And if you feel that you've been way too hurt or you're used to things being a certain way and you want it to be that way, then you need to find someone who matches to that. And again, I'm not promoting jump from relationship to
No.
relationship. However, you know the difference. Come on, we're adults here. Like, you live life, you know the difference at the end of the day. So I think it's just about taking that time and understanding you again and seeing what is it you want. And if that person doesn't match what you want, then stop wasting their time and stop wasting your own time.
Well, I'm actually going to say something interesting. And again, hopefully, who's ever here takes something away from it. If somebody loves you, they're willing to learn you. And it's just like what Anthea said, your tolerance level will be based off of how much you like them. If you don't
Yes,
like them that much, you're going to be like, okay, I'm done, I'm out.
yes, yes,
But
yes, yes.
when you love somebody, you're willing to learn them. And what I mean is understand how they operate, how they move, what they need out of a relationship, what their wants and desires are. You take time to learn them.
You do, and you really do.
So I think that's the most important thing, is that if you do love somebody, are you willing to learn them? Not tolerate them. We all have a tolerance level,
Yes.
but you should never be in a relationship to tolerate someone.
No,
That's
no,
different.
no, no, definitely not. Never do that for tolerate. But there is certain things that you when you listen, when you're with somebody and you have that true compassion and love and respect for them, I think things can be said, and I'm not talking like really hurtful, horrible,
Mhm.
horrible things. I'm just saying in general, you might have a conversation and someone says something a little bit out of line, but you might look at them like, did you just say that? Or, and they go, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I didn't even mean to say it that way. And you recognize it and accept, and again, back down to have that accountability for yourself. Because I think, and then that's a tolerance where you'll be like, well, that to me is nothing. But it's someone you don't really like and you really don't want to be, you're kind of like, not really sure about this person. And they say something like that. Your reaction could be completely different. So I think you've always got to look at yourself every single time. How do you react to the person? What's your tolerance level behind things? How much do you really want to make things work with this person? But I think when it comes down to true romance and true love and true compassion and respect, you don't have to make anything happen. It
That's
will
true.
just be a very ease and flow. I think we've said this before, it becomes very easy. And again, not saying it's going to be all sunshine and roses. However, more often than not, life is just a river and you're just bopping along and it's really nice and things are happening nicely. And that's
That
what
is
I think
true.
a true relationship comes down to.
Well, can I tell you guys a secret here? A big secret, which is going to help you in your dating relationship and who you deal with on a day to day basis. And this is going to help you greatly. If you're dating someone or friends with someone, and or because again, past relationships could even mean friendships too, because some people
Mm,
bring baggage from old friendships. If you are dating someone or have friends with someone and they do not have the ability to say sorry, followed up with changed behavior, run.
I agree with that.
Anybody can say sorry,
Yeah.
but is there changed behavior following up with that?
Mm. Because people throw that word sorry around like it's nothing, right?
With no changed action, there's no weight to it.
Yeah,
So it's like
exactly.
if you're gonna acknowledge your shortcomings and say sorry or whatever, is there a change in behavior behind it?
Yeah. And
That's
I
what
think
matters the most.
that's what I was going to say. I love that you said that because it is one of the biggest things is the change behavior. because words are just words. It's
Mhm.
your behavior that makes all the difference. It's your actions.
Well,
That's what
words
I
have
say.
power. Words establish dialogue, but action solidifies security.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what I mean by that is, let's say, and again, whatever, we'll say on this podcast, if I'm dating you and I tell you that I love you, that sets the dialogue.
Yes.
But the follow up, which gives you the security of you believing in that love, is the action that follows up after that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you could say to me, "Oh, Anthony, I love you," and I go, "Oh, that's really nice,"
Yeah.
and then that's it,
But
and
there's
then
no follow
and
up
there's no follow
of
up. So what
an
does it mean?
action
Yeah,
to support what was told.
yeah,
So that's why I was saying that don't deal with people that have no empathy to say sorry, but don't want to change their behavior.
yeah. But actually, I think that goes the same with the "I love you," because people say throw that around a lot. Yeah, but I love you. But then the action after that doesn't show that in any way, shape, or form, like you just said. It's the same, right? I'm sorry and I love you. Two sentences that get thrown around all over the place, but with no substantial, grounded, concrete evidence of what has just been said, right?
Well, we would have to separate the two because the thing is, does the person actually love you for who you are?
Or the life of you and
Or
them.
do they actually just only love you for what you can do for them?
And you know what? I love that you just said that. These are experiences that I've had in the past where I've been with somebody and I literally got to a point and realized my realization was like, hang on a sec, you don't love me. You love what I provide for you.
Yeah.
I provide a car, a roof over your head, a bed to sleep on, food, clothes, well, not clothes like that, but washing, all these things. So it's not me that you love. You love what I can do for you and what I do for you. And once I realized that, I was like, okay, now we have a conversation. And if they've been like, no, that's not true. But then their actions haven't followed up to show me anything different, and that's why relationships end.
Well, if we're also being honest when we talk about it in that narrative, that is going to play a part in somebody loving you. A good friend of mine told me the highest form of love is provisioning, being able to provide.
Right.
So if you love somebody, you want to be able to provide for them the highest regard. It's like, as we just spoke about 2 minutes ago, let's say we're dating and we plan to get married, and I'm like, I love you so much, but that wedding date never comes.
Mm,
I never gave you a ring. I never
mm,
proposed. Did I really love you? There. Think about it. That love comes with some form of provisioning. Me
mm.
paying for a ring, me getting down on my knee, us planning a wedding, us paying for suits and tuxedos and guests and open ball, all that other stuff. But there's an action to follow up behind that to some level of provisioning.
Yeah. And I think that goes with everything, doesn't it? It's anything that you're going to do in this world, if you're going to say it and you don't take the action behind it, then it's just words. It doesn't
That's
hold
exactly what
anything.
my friend told me. He said love, because the thing is, let's say you love somebody, but you're a bad provider. Do
Yeah.
you really love them that much?
Yeah, because you don't want to. If you're not providing for them in any way, shape, or form, then what are you showing? And it's not about bedroom fun, just bedroom fun,
Nothing.
or it's not just about going out to dinner. It's not just about this or just about that. It's about an overall thing, isn't it? It's a
Yeah,
balanced
like straight
relationship.
up providing with your time, attention, energy,
Yes.
making the person feel safe, secure. Like, I'm saying, do you actually provide? And that's the thing. When my friend told me that, I didn't get it until later on when he said the highest form of love is provisioning. So if someone shows a lack of provisioning or doesn't try to improve their level of provisioning, how much do you really love that person? You probably don't love
Mm,
them that much.
mm.
Because
You
if you
think
love
you do.
somebody, you would want the best for them and you
Yes.
want to be able to provide the best.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And it's so true, isn't it? And I think, again, I'm going to relate this back to when you have children, your love is unconditional and you want to provide for them. and that it's, you know, obviously it's not the same type of love in a romantic
Oh, it's
relationship.
not for
No,
men. We're under the thing that you provide something,
yeah,
some sense of value. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah. It's just, you know, you're going to come to, if you don't really, if you didn't even like, if you didn't really love somebody, then you're not going to go and do anything. You're not going to put yourself out there. You're not going to try and do things to make things work. You're not going to give your time and energy in the way that you would when you do really have that deep love for someone. And
Agreed.
yes.
So the point of it is, guys, is, and this is the two-way street, is, are you bringing your past into your present relationships, or is the other person bringing their past into their relationships? Now, the past gives context. Now, it's more as a sense of, are you bringing in your old baggage?
Mm,
And that's what I really wanted, because some people are bringing their old baggage from their previous relationships into their current one, and literally just dropping them off at your doorstep and saying, well, you got to deal with this.
it's not on. It's not on.
You have to deal with the fact that I was abandoned. You have
Yeah,
to deal with the fact that I have trust issues. You have to deal with the fact that I have codependency. You have to deal with the fact that I have depression. You have to deal with the fact that, that I'm controlling or whatever. And they just drop this off at your doorstep and expect you to love them regardless. And it's
mm,
like, no, because a lot of people have that attitude of take me as I am,
mm,
baggage and all. And it's like, no,
no,
not doing that.
no,
This isn't take me as I am. Like,
no.
I'm still gonna love you, but those, and we'll call them negative qualities because that's what they are. You leave those at the corner.
Mm.
That's how I look at it. A relationship is a house. You guys walk in it together, but you leave the garbage on the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you haven't, and if you do have any issues that are outstanding from the past, then be honest about it and sit with that person and discuss it and say,
Yeah,
look,
sit on
I,
the doorstep of the house before you
yeah,
enter the house of the relationship. Sit
yes,
on the doorstep. The person shows up with their baggage. Oh, hey, okay, I see you got like this and this. We'll sit down, we'll discuss it on the doorstep,
yeah.
and then you can leave the garbage on the doorstep. Because if you
What
bring
brilliant
all this
analogy.
baggage through the door, like to the relationship, which is the house, how are you going to fit that through the door? You're not going to be able to enter. You're not going to
No,
be able to surrender. You're not going to be able to show up as the best version of yourself because you have like 10 bags in your hand of things that
weighing
you
you
attached
down.
yourself to, codependency, cheated, like you've been cheated on, whatever, and you're trying to get through the door like, and you're not fitting. Yeah, that's you. And you're trying to fit through the door and you're not fitting through the door.
Yeah, so true. It's
And
so
you're not
true.
fitting through the door because you can't let go.
Yeah, so true.
So it's like, let's say the relationship is the house, your partner is on the inside, standing inside, saying, hey, come in, come. They're like, trying to get into the relationship, and they can't because they're still holding on to baggage. And I think literally
Absolutely.
it's very simple. You have two choices. You let go and enter the house of the relationship, or you keep trying to squeeze through the door. Those are your options.
Yeah,
You don't
they
have you
really
don't
are.
have to
Very
like
black
them.
and white, isn't it? It's very one way
Yeah,
or the other.
yeah. You don't have to like it, but that's
No,
what it is.
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
before we go, I wanted to say something. It's like I heard a very interesting quote from a guy, and people didn't like it, and they were like, "Oh, he's mean, he's rude," but no, he just knows what he wants. So his thing was this, because the interviewer asked him a question. Well, how do you deal with certain females that act certain ways? And he's like, I don't. It's either comply or goodbye.
I love that.
Literally, those are your options. You're like,
And, and that's how it should be,
if you're
Michael.
gonna be in my life, this is how I am. These are my
Yeah,
rules. These are my boundaries. Comply or goodbye.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the person's like, wow, like that's pretty solid. And he's like, yeah, I get attacked on it a lot.
Mm.
Females are like, oh, I don't like that. Okay, then I'm not your type of guy then.
Yeah, that's the goodbye, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the goodbye. Comply or goodbye.
Yeah. And it's up to each person how they want to be and how they want to show up. And obviously, as long as you're showing up with love and compassion and respect, that's the main thing. I don't think
Well, it's
showing up
understanding that
with,
it's like if a person wants to be with you, this is how it works.
yeah,
You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like you're not gonna come into the relationship. It's like going into a restaurant and they already have their menu, their chefs, and everything, and you're like, "Well, I'm gonna come here and change the menu, or I'm gonna change this." No,
it's
it's
not
either
no,
you comply and you like what's on the menu, or you leave the restaurant, and go eat somewhere else.
absolutely,
Those are your
absolutely,
options. You don't
yeah,
have like I'm gonna come here and change all this and bark and yell, and you don't like it, leave.
exactly, exactly. And on that note, Michael, I think we're going to have to finish it here.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah.
just
So we'll wrap it up, guys. But
yeah.
anyways, we'll see you guys Friday at the same time.
I hope you've all
Um,
enjoyed. Yeah, I hope it's
and
been to us. It's been to me. It's been a brilliant one. This is really something quite big, and yeah, like you said, we've got other platforms that we'll be expanding on
you
as
guys
well.
will see them real soon.
Yeah.
So we will see you real soon. And look, guys, before we go, I want to try to bring a more edgier, more fun show because I know we're always having all these serious conversations. I want to try to bring it more fun, more humorous, where everyone's having fun, but at the same time, the message gets across at the same time. So, with that being said, guys, we will see you guys soon and take care.
See you later, everyone.